Hey guys, welcome back to A Quick Cuppa. I'm Billy.
And I'm Lauren, and Christy is ill this week.
Poor Christy, we love you. Get better soon.
Sip it up, wash it up, pour out, drank. Oh my God, Rihanna at Glastonbury.
My gosh,
We can
imagine praying. I've seen about 4,000 articles now, and I actually will die if it's not true.
Absolutely. I mean, she hasn't released a song in, but we're still holding on hope.
We are.
I looked at my watch for all the listeners that can't see what I just did then.
No, we were talking about how many years it's been. I think she said apparently the other day I read that she has been working on this album for 8 years, and it's not going to sound commercially what it was in Harper's Bazaar. So it is legit. There is something coming. In Harper's Bazaar, she said like people, it's not going to do commercially well on the radio because it's so different to what she's used to.
Yeah, didn't she say something like there's not actually a genre for this?
Oh
How
my
kooky.
gosh, she's crazy. Oh,
Jokes.
yes, that'll
Love
be
it.
fun.
Well, yeah, that was the top of my celebrity headlines for the week. But let's see what we've got in store in our Magic Pot.
Of celebrity. Milady.
Okay. Bonnie Blue claims her extreme sex stunts are blank women.
Helps women.
Supporting women?
Yeah, I feel like she's trying to rage bait everyone and say like
What's new?
they're supporting women, helping women,
Yeah, protecting women.
protecting women. She's part of the problem.
Leave women out of this.
Honestly.
You can do your own thing
She's
and
done
go.
I think she's done way more damage than. Although I did see one nice thing, and I'll give credit where credit is due. Apparently, she was doing a load of like talking about having a baby, and it was all basically PR stunt. But apparently, she wants to fund someone else's IVF treatment.
So she's actually pregnant.
She's not pregnant, but she's been saying she is, and she's been putting out like these rumors that she's pregnant. But then she did a video apparently saying that it's actually because she wants to raise awareness so she can fund someone's IVF treatment.
I'm sorry, but it's 2025. We don't lie about being pregnant. Or
True.
her and Lily Phillips both being in the news that last week. You're trying to get all the tension on you again because it was off you for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's not the way to do it.
No, I think also rubbing like fake, I don't know, just there's something really dark about like not taking into consideration the experience that women have when the pregnancy doesn't always go to plan.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. It's a mockery. You're not protecting women at all. You're taking the piss out of them.
Also, like she would have just drawn up as much attention for that fundraising as she just said, if she just said, I want to pay for someone's IVF treatment. She doesn't have to go around pretending to be pregnant.
Yeah, and it's that whole thing as well. If it is for that very charitable reason, why are you sharing it online? Like, if you're that good of a person inside,
Yeah.
do it behind closed doors and don't do a fake fucking pregnancy announcement.
No.
Boring.
crazy.
Get more creative.
Okay. Millie Bobby Brown gets criticised over her blank makeover.
Ooh. I thought it was going to be Pamela Anderson, but then people have been saying Peggy Mitchell.
People say Peggy Mitchell, Ivana Trump,
No.
Donatella Versace, and Vicky Pattinson.
Do you mean Pollard?
Pollard.
Not Geordie Shore.
Geordie Shore. Every time someone's been saying Vicky Pollard, I was like, she looks nothing like Geordie Shore.
Oh no.
But yes, of course, that makes way more
Yeah,
sense.
no.
That poor
So
girl,
any of
though.
those names, Bobs?
Hair makeover.
It's mummy makeover.
Mummy makeover.
She's 21.
Also, like,
21.
I saw a post of this literally just a couple of minutes ago. People, all they said was just like, she looks so old, she's 40. And there was like one comment where it's like, are we still commenting on women's appearance, blah, 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 blah. And you forget, she's like just turned 21.
I feel for her. I mean, she's literally a classic child star that's grown up as a product of her environment. There's been a couple of instances where I think she's been a little bit snappy towards fans or towards like paparazzi, and instantly I
doesn't
think
warrant-
I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I do think it's built a perception of her that people just think, oh, that's another person to tear down.
Yeah.
Easy. So we'll start with her new haircut.
Yeah, people either love her or hate her, I think.
Yeah.
But the people that hate her are always the loudest. Like naturally with any celebrity, it's the people who, keyboard warriors, you know, sitting from like blank profiles. You look 40. Well, you probably are 40.
At least she can afford to get her hair done. You probably can't.
I actually really like the blonde.
Yeah, I really like it as
I
well.
think she looks great.
Yeah.
I don't really understand the hate.
Probably-
People will like, if someone does a drastic change,
Yeah.
they have to find like a funny, similar look to kind of like compare it to.
Yeah.
But you know, poor cow.
And blonde is a hard kind of thing to nail. I didn't mean to look at you, Bobby. I didn't mean to look at you. But I'm saying, when you're a new bright blonde, it's an adjustment. And I personally, if I was 21 and I just had my fucking box dye, nice and easy Claire Tesco madness that I did to my fucking
I didn't
scalp.
understand a word you said then.
Yeah, the blondes were out there. I would feel under scrutiny too, because my hair through its blonde years has been horrifying at times.
So something I've seen this week whilst scrolling through heapless amounts of TikToks is this conversation around Married at First Sight.
Oh.
And I've only seen a couple of episodes of the UK one, but there's one going on in America at the moment. And the reason why it piques my interest is because there's a woman on there who was influencer, micro-influencer. She had a fair following. Apparently she let slip to some of her followers that she was going on the show. And now the person that she has been proposed to or is married to, it's coming out that he was secretly following her before she went on the show and changed all his answers to tried to be matched up with her, and was all kind of like part of this strategic plan to get there. Whether or not I know if that's true or not, it just made me think of like how dangerous it is to be online, or like how much information people really put out there.
Yeah. Do you know what? That is firstly really weird. But now I'm kind of thinking over in my head, like a photo dump. It's got where the places are I like to eat, where I like to frequent at the weekends, what's my favourite cocktail? What's my favourite kind of way to dress up when I go out? I don't know. That is actually really alarming.
Like on a much bigger scale, someone like Emma Watson, I saw in an article the other day that she said that she doesn't like to take photos with fans, not because like she's precious of the way she looks, but because it puts her on a tracker. And if people put on Instagram, oh, just seen Emma Watson at the Savoy, now everyone starts talking and knows exactly where she is, and that privacy level has been kind of like completely taken away from them. Like, remember when Cameron Diaz and Drew Barrymore did Charlie's Angels? There's a photo of them coming out to the premiere, and they're looking around, and they're like, what's going on? I think they're in Tokyo, and everyone had, for the first time, camera phones. And they're like, what are they doing? What are those? And one of the publicists was like, oh, they're taking photos of you on their phone. And that was the moment they realised that their privacy was over.
Oh my God.
Because it wasn't just paparazzi you had to contend with, it's everyday people.
That's so dark.
It's quite scary.
It is really scary. And I guess on that same beat, it's worth obviously mentioning, like, on the other end of the spectrum, the privacy laws that are coming in around children. Have you seen the whole?
Yeah.
So that there's all this drama with family vloggers, and I think, as you say, I think it's probably time for it. I think I've had a bit of a cynical view around it. I've been watching family vloggers for like 10 years. How long I've been watching YouTube. That's what I liked to consume. I was interested in seeing how families in America live and like what their kind of day-to-day looks like. But when I start deeping it, I have seen some of these children grow up since their birth vlog, which I've seen them come out their mother's vagina on the World Wide Web and seen them grow up every year through school. I've seen their birthdays, their Christmases, their first days of schools, their last days of schools. And that's a bit too much information for me as a fucking stranger.
There's no
to
privacy
comprehend.
in that. And there's no, like, I'm sure if you ask those children at the ages of 15 maybe, or like even younger, they love it. They love the attention. They love all this stuff. But the moment they turn, like, if they're not going to continue that life of being an influencer, like Drew Barrymore speaks so much about not actually involving children in any kind of film work, because how you feel as a child can completely change to when you're adult, and the age of consent should really matter, even in vlogging.
Honestly, family vloggers are the new child stars of Hollywood. Like, they are going to be effed up. And interestingly, like, a lot of the family vloggers I watch, and I'm not making any correlation here, are Mormon, and like, they're big families, and some of them especially adopt quite a lot.
That's another thing.
In a scenario where you've been adopted into a family in an environment that's very materialistic, very much your parents' mood and how much they treat you is dependent on an algorithm. Could you imagine how much that would fuck you up? And that's not even something you chose to come into.
Like, I completely agree. Especially, it's funny you touched on adoption, because there's obviously the famous case with the Stroffers. Where she, for those of you who don't know, they're a YouTube family. they've stopped vlogging now, because back in 2020 they vlogged the whole process of them adopting a child from China who had learning disabilities, and this was all part of their journey, something they wanted to do to help. And then in like 2022 they gave the child back up for adoption, and it was all for clout and clicks, and they thought they could get away with it.
Yeah.
And now they've kind of obviously been cancelled and they don't vlog anymore. But it's just, it makes you question, like, some of these families that are putting their children online, you have to question, like, do they have their kids' best interests at heart?
It's so true. And it's just so out of that child's control. As much as people think like, oh, yeah, but they defend them by saying there's only certain moments they get the camera out and there's certain moments they respect their privacy. Like, one of these families that I watched, they ended up adopting quite a few of their children, and they actually changed their birth names to fit in with the theme of the family's names.
That's crazy.
So like all of the names ended in E's. So now all these children that have like come from Russia now have names ending in E.
Why?
And it's just a bit of a mind fuck. It's like, oh my God. But this maybe has been happening around the world and it's not been caught on camera. But it does get to a bit of a point where it's like, I really shouldn't be knowing this much about these strangers.
But I also feel like, as much as it, mainly of course it happens with vlogging, but there is some things I feel like even everyday people overshare on Instagram. The amount I've seen recently, far too many newborns covered in placenta that I care to admit on like Instagram and Facebook.
Oh my God.
Where's the privacy in that? Like, why would you want people you've not spoken to for 15 years to see what you've just pushed out of your minge?
I agree. Like, I watched someone's birth vlog the other day where they're in a birthing pool having a fucking baby to Silent Night, and I'm 5 minutes in, I've got a tear rolling down my cheek, and I'm like, what the actual F am I doing?
I really don't get it.
Turn that off.
It is, sorry, Lord, that is weird.
It's like, it's yeah, you're right, but people from school, even weirder, but even weirder, a stranger.
Yeah, a stranger.
Where have we come to?
People need to stop vlogging their children.
I need to stop watching it.
This is actually
I'm the problem.
We're not actually filming today. We're actually here to have a sit down talk with you.
There was some crazy statistic though. There was this boy, not even family vloggers, but like child influencers. In 2017, 6-year-old Ryan Kaji raked in 11 million through his YouTube channel where his parents filmed him reviewing toys. Last year, he earned 30 million, illustrating the stunning explosion of the child influencer and family vlogging industry. And then obviously in January this year, there was a new law brought in I think California, where if a child is featured in at least 10% of a video, then the parent has to put 65% of the earnings of that video into a trust fund.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's right. Because now loads of the families are moving to Tennessee where the same law does not exist.
The red state.
The red state, which is like, I saw a TikTok today, the other day, and it was a woman basically explaining like, oh, you're wondering why your favourite family vloggers are moving to Tennessee? Well, they're probably Republican and they're trying to avoid paying their kids any kind of financial settlement
But the thing that bothers me about that, and the person in question that's been in the news, is a creator called Brittany Xavier. She said they're moving because of mold. Say it with your chest. Like, just say that maybe your views don't align with the California rules, even if it's not to do with that. She's been sharing things about not sitting right with the politics. Don't say it's because of the mould. It's actually embarrassing.
Yeah.
I've got mould.
Say it with your chest. Try living in a basement flat in London, babes.
Yes!
Hey?
Louder.
Yeah, say it for the people at the back of the room.
Or in the basement.
Or in the basement flats.
But I still just feel like icky.
Yeah, I do as well. And there's a question in that, like, oh, is it worth it then? You know, a lot of people will say 11 million. Wow, that's worth this kid's time. But then you have to really question the morals and the ethics of the parent, right? Like,
True.
So 11 million is actually worth more to you than your kid's normal upbringing,
It's
your
so
kid's
true.
normal experience of life.
Yeah.
You know, that kid cannot change now for the fact that he has been blasted all over the internet, seen by 11 million pounds worth of viewers.
Yeah.
And you're putting a price on your child's experience of life, and I think it's kind of toxic.
So true. So do you think that maybe any content at all online that have children in it shouldn't be monetized?
I actually think that is
I
the
think
way.
so too.
If you want to be a family vlogger and it's because, you know, I'm not completely against it.
Yeah.
It's the monetization of your kids and your, like, make like that Ruby Franke scenario. The daughter's recently done an interview and she was talking about how her mum's mood depended entirely on the performance of the channel. Their relationship was purely business, and what happened to that family was absolutely awful. For any of you who don't know, so it was a family who in 2023 were found the mother was torturing and abusing her children, and like kids were their heads were being shaved if they were misbehaving.
They were tied to beds.
Yeah, and it was just an awful experience. But a lot of the early years of their kind of unhappy lives, you start to really see it, don't you? If you see the old clips, you can see like there's a weird clip that keeps going around of the mum explaining how one of the kids hasn't had a bed for like however long, 6 weeks, because he misbehaved and he did a prank on one of the boys, and so as punishment he had to sleep on the cold floor.
I would say, I think you'd find if you took away the ability to monetize family vloggers, then half of them wouldn't be on YouTube, or they wouldn't bother sharing their life, because it's like...
It's also like there's instances where families are having kids or adopting kids for the financial benefit, which is like, how do you stop that from happening? You take away the financial bonuses that you get from sharing that content.
Yeah.
I almost actually think that is the way forward. It's like, content that is primarily focused on children shouldn't be monetized.
Yeah.
There's no reason why a family needs to share exactly what they do on their holiday and make money from it.
Well, it's true. I think YouTube did get to a point in that where, like, I think anything that has kids in, they took off all the comments, or anything for YouTube Kids, they purposely took off the comments. So like, if we're halfway there with that, the world obviously knows that this is a quite damaging territory for children to be blasted on to, quite frankly, millions and millions of people that could have really dangerous motives. Yeah, because
even with like celebrities, they're aware of the dangers, and that's what I think is slightly worrying, is that these vloggers don't tend to really understand that how many creeps that are out there or care to, when like Molly May has a baby, or Leanne from Little Mix, they always cover their faces.
No, Bambi's blasted.
Oh, okay, I'll take that back. Retract. But like most celebrities try now to like not have their kids in any photos. They get really protective because even they understand that it's not their choice to be famous.
I know, but it's a dangerous trap. Like, if these kids are getting like all these amazing holidays, amazing Christmases and birthdays, why would they then go, yeah, let's just stop sharing our lives online? It's really sticky, slippery slope. There's actually one family vlogger that I watch, and I was telling you about it, and he openly said that someone asked, why aren't you being in the vlogs anymore, the dad? And he was like, I'm just not very comfortable with being on the vlogs at the moment. But he's happy to film his fucking 3 daughters.
Creepy, man. That's creepy.
His 5 kids. What are you doing?
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
You're literally just like working your kids like
for your benefit.
Yeah,
that's very dark.
I just think it's creepy. I just don't think like that's a good experience of life to always like, because I've seen a couple of clips from these videos, and the kids are performing. It's not a case of like you're like being like, yeah, no, I'm okay, thanks, Dad. It's like, what should I get with this £5? And it's just like,
£5?
£5 Oh, maybe this. And it's just like,
it's too much. It's too much.
That's what the world's coming to.
And then the kids do start resenting the adults. You start seeing it.
Good. They should. Because if that's what the world's coming to, I hope that comet hits hard and fast. So we actually have a confession from one of our top fans that we are going to read out and review today. I always wanted to tell this story to you guys for so long. Been a fan for 2 years now. Wow. Day one. That's a day one. So when I was around 6 years old, every single night I would hear some random squeaking noise coming from my parents' bedroom. And then one night it was louder. So I got up and walked down the hallway that leads to my parents' room. I open my parents' door and I see them having sex in a position I've never even wanted to know. I was really young, didn't understand what was happening, so my parents immediately covered themselves up. I was really young and I didn't understand what was happening, so my parents immediately covered themselves up when they heard me and immediately grabbed a bottle of Tylenol. This left me scared for life, and I will never get past this.
What the chuff is Tylenol?
I don't know.
It's a painkiller.
Tylenol.
Oh, as in like acting like they've got a headache or like they've bonked heads.
The wrestling.
Have I ever had a similar situation? No, because my
No.
parents, I'm a child of divorce.
It's quite common though. I feel like I know a lot of my friends, or I know some friends who've said that they were younger and they can kind of remember a similar experience. I don't have that, thankfully.
No, thankfully not. Sorry we can't relate to you, listener.
No.
But that sounds really traumatizing. No, this is actually an interesting conversation, and it feels weird to be talking about in a thing we've just been talking about, exploiting children and family bloggers.
yeah.
But like
Feels really weird,
the
actually.
idea of like, obviously if you're like a healthy and loving relationship parent, should you, and you should be allowed to explore your sexual connection under the roof of your family, but it's like, to what extent?
Yeah.
Like, you have to live your life. I don't know how
100%.
people do it.
Parents can't stop having sex just because they've got a kid.
Yeah.
I don't really know, not a parent, but yeah, I don't have sex.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really tricky, but unfortunately, it is part of life. And
Yeah.
it's easier said than to accept, I think, because like neither of us have experienced it, and it's probably quite horrible to shake something like that off.
Yeah.
But get over it. Joking,
No,
get
loads
that.
of people do talk about this kind of thing
They
where they've like
do.
walked into their parents or like walked into a brother or sister. Johnny
Yeah.
has. Bobby has. Why are you pointing like you've walked into Bobby? Really, you have? What happened?
Yeah, I've walked in on my parents.
Really?
Yeah, but I was like a teenager.
Oh, that's even
And that
worse.
was
my
so.
That's
it was
really horrible.
awkward.
What position were they in?
I don't know. I did.
Laura.
It's mostly
Sorry.
erased from my mind.
Oh.
Yeah, it was scary, and I immediately was like, because I knew it was happening. I was like, oh, and I just ran away basically, and yeah, scarred for life. It's still.
Don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't think you can shame your parents though, because that might scare
No.
them into getting erections and stuff.
What?
Sorry. That's really interesting, Johnny. Thank you.
So, to our number one fan, if you'd like to contact Johnny, his phone number is.
Yeah, unfortunately, these things happen, and
Yeah.
sex is natural. That's how you were born. So,
I was.
unfortunately, it's just something you just got to take on the back. Oh,
God,
that was the wrong thing.
that was wrong.
I meant take on the chin. No,
Take with a pinch of salt.
I mean, take it with a pinch of salt.
Oh my God! Wait, you've changed since hearing that story. You've been possessed
Oh
by a
yeah.
freaky sex demon.
Sorry. Thank you guys for joining us this week, and thank you for your gorgeous confession. If you guys have any more like that and you want us to react to them, send them to us at teaatfour@junglecreations.com or find us on all our socials, which will probably be linked in the description.
Woo! See you next time.
Oh, bye.